Hey everybody, it's Allie, and welcome to our Y&R chat for Sunday, April 24th. Well, let's just dive right in, shall we? Let's talk about the news that rocked Genoa City this week. Lucy was finally able to roll over all on her own. No, wait, that's not big news. But Sharon's death is, oh my goodness, Sharon's death just making its way through Genoa City. I so enjoyed seeing everyone's individual reactions to the news of Sharon Newman's death. Jack was the first one to find out. He was at the athletic club, he got the phone call from one of his buddies on the force, and he was in absolute shock. Peter Bergman, I mean, Jack has always had this soft spot for Sharon, and seeing it on his face, Peter Bergman just played it so amazingly. You could just feel it, that he felt so guilty for having abandoned Sharon these last few months, and just learning that she was gone now after she had played such a significant role in his life. You could just see it all written on his face. And Jack was in the unfortunate position of having to tell the news to a few other people who were at the athletic club. It was Victoria and Billy there, and Ashley was there, and Abby was there with Daniel, and Jack had to tell everyone this very shocking news. And I guess the next sort of piece of it, we move over to the ranch now. And oh my goodness, Nikki is interrupting another kissy face moment between Victor and Diane. She walks into the ranch living room and she's holding Faith in her arms, and suddenly the camera moves to the outside of the ranch. It was us looking in through the window at Nikki telling Victor no words, which I thought was a very interesting choice too. And Nikki just telling Victor the news, and Victor just grabbing for Faith, you know, just realizing that this poor baby has just lost her mother. It was an interesting choice, I thought, to show that scene in a very silent way, just physically watching everyone's reactions rather than hearing all of the words. I thought that was a very interesting twist, and I really enjoyed seeing that. And Victor ended up being the one to go to New York to get Noah. And I actually found Noah's reaction to be very realistic. I really identified with him. Victor goes to pick him up in the plane. The second Noah gets on board the jet, Noah is in absolute disbelief. He's saying, you know, the tabloids, they're making things up about Mom all the time, so this is not true. I'm sure that it's not true. Grandpa, tell me that it's not true. And just the look on Victor's face is, it's time to come home to be with your family. It is the truth. And Noah just goes through this really realistic grief process. First the disbelief, then the shock, just not believing that it's true. And it's always like that. I mean, I lost a family member recently, and you go through this phase of you can't believe that it's true. And then the guilt starts to sink in. Noah was particularly horrible to Sharon within the last time he saw her, within the last few weeks, and it just starts to sink in for him that he regrets all of these things that he said to her, and he wishes that he hadn't. He wishes that he could change things. And speaking of regret, we actually opened up the week in bed with Phyllis and Nick. Now, honestly, Sharon's death is probably the only thing that could have possibly topped the Phyllis and Nick sleeping together. Because I'm just so disappointed in Phyllis. Words can't even express. I've considered myself a Phyllis and Jack fan for a long time, and now I'm so mad at her for cheating on him. I'm starting to feel like she's just not even good enough for him now. I'm so mad at her for betraying him, and this part of me kind of hopes she doesn't tell him because I want to save him. I don't want him to be hurt. I mean, he's just learned that Sharon is dead. I don't want it to turn around and be, you know, realizing that Phyllis is gone back to Nick, or that she slept with him. And even if Phyllis tries to rationalize this by saying that it didn't mean anything, that's a lie too. We all know that that's a lie too. So I just, there's no good that's gonna come out of this Phyllis and Nick situation, unless you're a Phyllis and Nick fan. Then it's all good. It's right on times. But it was very awkward that Phyllis and Nick have just slept together. They know it was the wrong thing to do. Phyllis said out loud, "This is bad. We're bad. We've done this bad, dirty, bad thing." Nick is like, "It's bad, but it's good." But Phyllis is like, "No, it's just bad." And finally, Phyllis turns on her cell phone after Jack has been trying to reach her for days. Because she didn't tell him she was going off on this hunt for Sharon. She didn't tell him she was going with Nick. Jack is finally able to reach Phyllis, and he shares the news with her that Sharon is dead. And just this look on Phyllis's face is, what? What? And it was an additionally awkward moment as Jack says, "Will you tell Nick?" Now, Phyllis didn't tell Jack that she was with Nick. So now Phyllis knows that Jack knows that she was with Nick, and the extra burden of Phyllis having to tell Nick. Now switching on to Nick. Phyllis just tells him flat out, looks at him right in the face and says, "Sharon's dead." And Nick is heartbroken. You can see it in his eyes. You can see it all over his face. This was the mother of his children. This was the love of his life. And as we talked a little bit about last week, I think that Nick was absolutely still chasing Sharon because he loved her. I think that all of these actions as of late have been about his love for Sharon. And you could just read all of this in his mannerisms, that he's crushed. The love of his life is gone and he is crushed. And at least he is not the one that had to identify her body. Adam, back in New Mexico, Adam is ruined. He is wrecked. He is decimated. He looks like the wreckage of the car that Sharon was supposedly driving. That's what he looks like on his face. He is like a shell of a man, thinking that Sharon is gone. She's the only reason that he had to live, and now the coroner needs him to go identify her body. Which is horrible enough as it is, but this body is burned beyond recognition. The coroner lifts up the sheets. Adam almost throws up. When Michael Mooney did amazing. Oh, I'm feeling him every step of the way. But he almost throws up, but yet he sees the one thing that he needs to see to let him know that this is Sharon. The body is wearing the wedding ring that he gave to Sharon that was his mother's. And he sees that ring and he realizes that, of course, it must be Sharon, you know, and all of his worst fears are confirmed. Sees it with his own eyes. Sharon is dead. And with Sharon, if Sharon has died, the best of Adam has died too. So Adam, I think, is still trying at this point to live up to be this man that Sharon always saw him as being. So Adam decides to go to see Doris. And he's trying to be a good guy and deliver the news to her in the best possible way that you could deliver this type of news. And of course, Adam tries to comfort Doris, and Doris tears him down. That is what Doris does. You go to see Doris lately and she just tears you down. I mean, this woman has had a hard life. I've been pretty hard on Doris every time I bring her up, but she treats Adam like he's a total scumbag. And maybe that's what he is. maybe he is a scumbag. I mean, maybe that's what you guys are all thinking, because if it wasn't for Adam, Sharon would never have gone through this series of events. Sharon would never have gotten into this mess, and she certainly wouldn't have, quote unquote, died. So, I mean, maybe Doris is just seeing what the truth is, that it was Adam's fault. And the only thing Adam is hating himself already, and she's just rubbing salt in the wound, He has pretty much considered everything at this point, except the fact that Sharon may have killed herself. This part hasn't occurred to him, He shows the letters that Sharon wrote to Noah and to Faith and to him, to Doris, trying to get her to understand that Sharon was, in this good place, and that, that she loved her family. And Doris takes one look at the letters and sees that this looks like a suicide letter, which was what I said last week. It really, I think, looked like a suicide letter. So I kind of love this ambiguity here around Sharon's death, but Adam had never considered that. Now suddenly he's kind of got that in the back of his mind, thinking, it is possible. I mean, Doris planted the seed there. So Adam is destroyed on every possible, conceivable level. He goes back to Genoa City, and everyone greets him with open arms, right? Wrong. Goes back to Genoa City. Immediately, upon stepping foot back in town, he is detained for questioning, which, I mean, come on, after all, the cops are waiting for him, as they should be, to ask him about Sharon's prison escape. She may be dead, but that doesn't mean that he didn't help her bust out of prison, and they want to know the answers. And Adam, he surprises me. As a matter of fact, no. He never ceases to surprise me. You'd think that he would just be so devastated in this moment that he would just give up. But no. Adam is not devastated so much that he can't concoct a lie. While he's in this grief, he's still able to, in his mind, work up a little lie to get him off of the hook for having helped Sharon through all of this. He is truly astonishing, and to his credit, he did try to step in there and do the right thing after she died. He wanted to help Doris. He wanted to make these funeral arrangements for her, but no one is letting him. He is a pariah. Big time. Nick and Noah and Doris are all trying to freeze him out of the funeral, of the ceremony, of any of the arrangements. And what did you guys think about that? What did you think about them trying to exclude Adam from the ceremony? Was it wrong? Do you guys think that Adam had a right to be there? I don't know, because as terrible as the situation is, Adam meant something to Sharon. He meant something to her. And they're planning this, remembrance of Sharon, and it really should have been, I think, about what Sharon would have wanted. Celebrating her life in its entirety, no matter whether they agreed with it or not. And in a perfect world, they all would have just embraced Adam and took him in, and who knows, maybe that could have been a point of reunion, but that is so not what happened. Not what I expected to see happen, not even what I wanted to see happen. The Newmans jump right in, and they take control of the situation. That's what they're good at. They're good at just taking over the situation, and they just knocked Adam right out of the way. Adam sent flowers to Sharon's ceremony, her funeral ceremony, and the Newmans dumped him out back, threw him away. Dumped him out in back of the church. They were like, get those out of here. They're from him, get them out of here. Adam, he tried just to go to the ceremony to pay his respects, his last respects to Sharon with her family. Victor files a restraining order against Adam and has Adam thrown out of Sharon's funeral service, kicking and screaming. It was very intense. And Adam was not having it. Adam was gonna have the last word. It didn't matter if there was a restraining order. It didn't matter if no one in the world wanted him there. He was gonna be at this service for this woman that he loved and that changed his life. Adam goes around back of the church, climbs up the trellis, hops up into the belfry of the church, and descends into the church area where the ceremony is being held through the roof. Basically, Adam basically like dropped in through the roof to get to this ceremony to say his piece about Sharon. He had some words that he was gonna share with the family, and they were all gonna listen whether they liked it or not. So, while all of this tragedy of Sharon's death is sinking into everyone's mind in Genoa City, Sharon is completely alive, completely fine, but she's wandering around on a desert highway, looking like a totally different person, for one. It seems like her hair is a little bit darker now. I don't know if it was just me, but it seemed like maybe they are taking it darker in steps, in shades, because it seemed darker this week. I have to tell you, I'm getting real tired of seeing her in that booby shirt in the hooker outfit. But that's exactly what she looks like. She looks broken. She's broke. She got no money. She's exhausted. Oh my goodness, she's just been through hell. She's hungry, she's thirsty, she has no one. Sharon happens upon this farmhouse, okay? And she walks right on up to it, and I couldn't believe this. The woman grabs the hose, the hose in the yard of this farmhouse, and starts taking a drink. Sharon Newman drinking from a hose. I never thought I would live to see the day. I'm telling you, I don't even know this woman anymore, but it was beautiful. And then she wanders into this barn, grabs a blanket, throws it down on a pile of hay, and takes a nap. On a pile of hay! Sharon! I'm gonna guess that was much different than the 1,000-thread count Egyptian sheets that she probably used to sleeping on, right? It's so against everything that Sharon usually is. And when she wakes up, there is a guy standing over her, looking just puzzled. Like, what do we have here in my barn? And at first I was thinking, this could develop into a very dangerous deliverance type situation. But to my complete delight, what is actually developing here is a very interesting twist. It seems that Y&R has decided to give us a sexy, single, country farm boy. He's a man, country farm man, slash veterinarian. So he's country, but he's educated, and he's forward thinking. He's sort of into alternative therapies. And did I mention he was kind of sexy? I mean, can I just be one of the first to say thank you, Y&R. Thank you, Y&R, because you all know how I feel about cowboys and cow boots and assless chaps. So this one is really speaking to me. They did their market research on this one. Sexy cowboy, thank you. Thank you. I'm so excited about this. And I'm really loving the direction that this is going in. I loved it when it happened to Victor back in 1995. And I love it now. I really do. I think this is going to be very, very interesting. It's good. I think, you know, Sharon, she wants to stay dead for a while, and she has nowhere to go. She has no one waiting for her, nothing. I mean, her life is like a blank slate now. So here we have this situation where Sharon can actually start over again for real this time, and she can learn a lot from Sam. His name is Sam, our sexy cowboy man, and she can help him wrangle horses and deliver baby animals and bale hay. And more than anything, on a serious note, Sharon can learn how to freaking take care of herself. She can learn how to survive without the Newman name, without the Newman money. She can learn to rescue herself. After all of these years of somebody else always needing to rescue Sharon, Sharon needs to learn how to pick herself up by her cowgirl bootstraps and save herself and take charge of her own life. And I'm really looking forward to seeing that. And in return, oh, this is going to be very, very cute. Sharon can teach Sam about the finer things in life, about cooking, about wine. I can see it now. I'm like imagining the inside of his farmhouse. So far we've only seen the barn, but I'm really hoping that there is a main house set. And I can just see, like, you know, Sharon getting in there and like maybe adding little touches of warmth to his indoor house and to his life. I can see the smiles. I can see the warmth. It's coming. There's no drag about this guy. He didn't try to steal her baby. He's not, you know, I feel it. I just feel it. And I want to know how you feel about it, you guys. Sam and Sherry. What do you think about it? Sherry Coleman, Sharon's new farm identity. She, you know, he asked her what her name is, and she's like, Sherry Coleman. That was beautiful. I love it. I want to know what you guys think about it. So leave me a comment. Find a way. Leave me a comment. Let me know what you think. I mean, I love it. The only problem here is that everyone in Genoa City thinks she's dead. And Sharon is letting them think it, you know? And that something about that just feels so wrong. Everyone is grieving over her, and she's just letting them go on like that. And that feels very bad. The rest of it feels very good, but that feels very bad. So anyway, the most important thing is, what do you guys think? Seriously, leave me a comment. Let me know what you think about the brand new Sherry Coleman. So Gloria and Chloe, or as I like to call them, Glow and Chloe, they got off the hook this week. They got a get out of jail free card from Billy, and he decided to not press charges against them, so they're totally off the hook for Janagate, which is very good. It's just in time, because I think they both could not get out of jail soon enough. They just needed to be out and back amongst their own kind. I think Gloria especially was very happy to be amongst her people again back at Glowworm. And she has a temporary replacement husband right now. What did you guys think of the temporary replacement Jeff? The new Jeff, we'll call him. What do you guys think? I definitely think that this actor gives a different take on the character. I'm pretty sure, I think I've seen him before. I want to say he was on General Hospital for a really long time. I don't know, you guys will have to let me know. Who is that actor, and wasn't he on General Hospital? It seems like Y&R's doing a good job of folding in actors from other soaps lately. But anyway, that's pretty cool. I thought he did a really good job. He's definitely playing Jeff a lot less smarmy than the other guy. Like, I don't get the creeps from this guy. I get the creeps from our usual Jeff. He makes me uncomfortable. This guy is a little bit more easy on the eyes, I think, and he's a little bit more, I don't know, just seems almost more stable. But I was so glad to see that Jeff finally was able to pay off Angelo. He's finally able to pay off these freaking gambling debts. I was getting real sick, real tired of this feeling of impending doom with Angelo and with Kevin, and about that whole thing. It never ended up really going anywhere or taking off. Just that whole thing was really bugging me, and I'm really glad that it's over now. And was it me, or was Angelo hitting on Gloria pretty hardcore this week? I mean, Jeff gives him this big wad of money to pay him off, and Angelo takes a chunk out of it and gives it to Gloria and tells her to go buy a little something nice for herself. And that's wow, he's blatantly coming on to Gloria here right in front of Jeff. I think that would be kind of interesting. Why not? Why not let Glow have a little triangle, and why not let Angelo get some? He's been working pretty hard for us these past couple of weeks. It wouldn't be too bad to have him, you know, get a little something. Goodness. So on the other side of the coin, Chloe and Kevin have hit a real rough patch. Things are not looking good for them whatsoever. It's kind of weird. Like, Kevin and Jana are now working together to try to learn the truth about Daisy's baby. And Kevin, ever since she got caught breaking into Jana's apartment, Kevin has given her the brush off. Big time. He's like, you know what? Either you support me and you're with me on this, or just get away, go away. I mean, there doesn't even seem to be any love from him. He just seems completely annoyed with Chloe these days. And I mean, I don't know. I just feel like these two are so fickle. Kevin just falls out of love with her so quickly. She falls out of love with him so quickly. I don't even know what that says about this relationship. But essentially, it's a big race to try to find out the truth about Daisy's baby, and who's gonna figure it out first. So we've got Kevin and Jana hot on the trail. We've got Billy. He's basically scrambling to try to hide the tracks. You know, anything that could lead Jana and Kevin back to him, he's scrambling to erase it. And Daniel is coming right up, behind them, just trying to erase anything right along. You know, him and Billy are kind of on the same side. Daniel actually sabotaged Kevin this week. He wiped out all of the information on Kevin's hard drive, and Kevin was so ticked off. I mean, Kevin didn't see Daniel do it, but Kevin's starting to figure out that Daniel just does not want this baby to be found for whatever reason. And Kevin just hauled off and gave Daniel one of those good old right hooks. It was brutal. Right there in the coffee house, he was just like, bam, right in Daniel's face. And Daniel was like, oh no. And he hits him right back. It was a very brief little fight between Kevin and Daniel, but it was intense. I mean, these two guys, they're supposed to be best friends. And now it's just, they are totally on the outs. They're both on opposite sides of the fence with this Daisy baby issue. And I don't know, man, in a way, I can't blame Kevin, because that's what you get when you try to mess with a man's computer. You don't mess with a man's computer and get away with it. And by the way, I didn't even know that magnet trick worked. I'm gonna have to keep that one in mind if I ever want to erase somebody's hard drive, which I don't know why I would, but that's a handy little Swiss Army knife kind of piece of knowledge. The whole thing is so ridiculous, and every moment is just an inch closer, and I don't want the truth to be revealed, but in a way I'm kind of getting sick of the chase, because at the same time that all this is going on with Kevin and Daniel, Jana has the lady who found Daisy's baby originally in the church and sold her to Primrose DeVille. This woman has followed Jana back to Billy and Victoria's house, and they're kind of talking. They both really genuinely want to find the baby. And just as this woman is leaving Billy and Victoria's house, she glances over at a box of clothes, and she happens to recognize the little onesie that Delia, good Lord, that Lucy was wearing when the woman gave her to Primrose DeVille. So now this woman has kind of identified that this is what this child was wearing. The bells are starting to ring in Jana's little head, and I feel like for the last at least 3 weeks, and here we are again, we are literally moments away from a huge bombshell. Is it gonna happen? When is it gonna happen? How is it gonna happen? Abby is starting to get jealous of Lily and her relationship with Daniel, and who could blame her? I can't blame her. I mean, Lily is class, and Abby she's just a spoiled brat. She's a spoiled brat. I'm so over the whole naked heiress thing. I'm tired of saying the words. I'm tired of the stunts. I mean, this week, she has a film crew following her around, and she's trying to stage these moments of love between her and Daniel for the cameras to see, and it just reeks of desperation. Doesn't it? I mean, it's like, Abby, did Daddy not pay enough attention to you when you were a kid? I mean, geez, that's exactly what it says, is my daddy never paid attention to me, so here I am. It's so textbook, and it's so getting on my nerves, because I've had so many moments lately of believing that Abby has changed, and she's really developing into this really cool character, and throughout the whole arbitration thing, she was, the voice of reason when Victoria and Nick completely weren't, and now just to see her back to these same old stunts with the naked heiress thing, which is totally going to come back to bite her in the butt, and Daniel in the butt very, very soon. It's not going to be very, very long before this whole thing blows up in her face, and I can't believe, honestly, that Daniel has played along with this whole thing for as long as he has, because this is pretty much the exact reason that he was always so frustrated with Amber. It was always Amber with these immature stunts and Daniel having to run along behind her and clean up the mess. And it's starting to kind of look like the exact same thing between him and Abby, and I just feel like it's time for them both to grow up. It's especially time for Daniel to grow up, okay? He has got bigger problems to deal with than Abby and her stupid freaking reality show. I mean, Daniel has got the Lucy situation weighing on his mind big time, and he can't even talk to Abby about it. He can't even open up to her about it. I mean, obviously because she's intimately involved in the situation, but I feel in so many ways Daniel doesn't feel like he can, open up to her and really trust her. On the other hand, Daniel feels completely comfortable with Lily. I mean, Lily listens to him. Okay, you guys. I am so confused. Lily, she goes to visit Kane, his grave site this week. He has a new tombstone, and she goes there to visit him. And number one, she finds this handkerchief sitting right next to the tombstone that has these little baubles in it. There's this little Paris keychain. There's a necklace. There's a little dog figurine. All of things that represent her life with Kane. She goes back later, and there's a picture of Samantha, Kane's sister, sitting also on the tombstone. And then the third thing, she's at the gravesite, and a psychic happens to walk by. And she tells Lily that she feels Kane's presence. He's here with her. He's looking after her. But there's also a malevolent presence that she senses. And she can't quite put her finger on what it is. And Lily senses it too. And they have this this moment together where they're kind of acknowledging that something otherworldly is going on. And Oh my goodness. Lily has a very, what seems like real encounter with what seems like Kane at the gravesite. And I'm totally left with, I'm dumbfounded. What is going on here, you guys? You must have some kind of theory on this, because I mean, Lily's talking to Kane, she reaches out, she touches him, he's real, it seemed real. And Kane is standing there. Number one, he was very elusive, and he was kind of acting like he was dead. I mean, the things he was saying were leading her to believe that he was dead and that he was communicating with her from beyond the grave. Yet she was able to reach out and touch him. And the weirdest thing of all, I think, was that Kane had this look on his face, like he looked like this a completely different guy. He had like this boyish look on his face, and he was smiling, and there was something up. Like, something about him did not seem like regular Kane. And it may just have been that at the end we saw Kane under all of this stress, and now he's supposedly dead and maybe at peace. But he just had this look on his face that was completely otherly. It didn't even look like Kane to me. It was so weird. And I don't know what to think. I really don't. Because if this was a hoax, and Kane actually has a twin, which is the theory that I keep wanting to operate under, I think it's an evil twin. And I think he's just messing with Lily, and I think he's gonna try to move in there and imposter. And I think that is the malevolent presence that the psychic and Lily have, you know, kind of detected here. And to me, that's the only thing that really makes sense, because we saw the boot print last week. He can't be a ghost. Ghosts don't leave boot prints. You can't reach out and touch a ghost. I mean, they're having this conversation, and it seems so very real. And then later, Kane is like still at the gravesite and kind of peeks in on Jill and Colin, who are there visiting at the tombstone. And I just feel like something is there. And note, this Kane is wearing a black jacket. Kane did not wear black jackets. This guy seems like an evil twin, and he's presenting himself as loving, and it's not really. I think there's a danger element here somewhere. I'm starting to believe that the real Kane is dead and that this is an evil twin. But if this whole thing is Kane's ghost, and that's where we're going with this, in a sort of John Abbott direction, then I'm going to tell you right now, I don't think that this is healthy for Lily. I don't want Lily communicating and hanging on to a relationship with Kane if he's actually really dead. I mean, that's not healthy for her. Call me a skeptic, but if we're just going to be seeing Kane, the same old Kane, just in a ghost capacity, having this faux relationship with Lily, then I would just assume he'd stay dead. I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm enjoying seeing Kane, and I'm so puzzled by this storyline that, I mean, it's getting me talking, it's getting me thinking. I mean, puzzled is good, I guess. I mean, it's better than being boring, but I'm just so confused. I'm really, really dying to hear what your theories are on this, because this is major movement on the storyline, and I just don't even know what to think. I know you guys are out there brimming with ideas about what this is, so please leave me a comment and let me know what you think. Do you agree with the psychic, or do you agree with the psychologist? You know, I mean, it's very different approaches to the situation. Maybe the answer is somewhere in the middle, but I gotta know what you're thinking about this. Please tell me, is Kane dead or alive? 3 words. Poor, clueless Malcolm. Ugh. He and Sophia are off on their romantic honeymoon this week in the tropics, and Malcolm reaches into Sophia's beach bag to grab a couple of bucks to tip the room service guy, and he pulls out a big old pregnancy test from her bag. this poor guy, I mean, he's so happy, he's so elated, he's getting so excited about the fact that he might possibly be a dad someday soon, and he's waving the box around at Sophia, just telling her to take the test, take it, go ahead, take the test, take it, take it, take it. I mean, he's like a little kid. The whole time, Sophia is just dreading it. I mean, the look on her face, she knows in her heart that she is pregnant, but she does not know who is the daddy. Ugh! It's so horrible. She doesn't want to take the test, but she takes the test, and now worse off, she has to have Malcolm all up in her face excited about it. She finally takes the test, lets Malcolm see the results first. She's basically like, you look at him, because I don't want to. Malcolm looks at the little pea stick, and his face lights up like a Christmas tree. He is thrilled. And Sophia's face, she looks like she is going to puke again. She has got attitude about the whole thing. You know that she probably would have tried to hide it. She probably would have taken the test on her own and tried to hide it from him, but no, he got up in her business, and now he knows that she's pregnant. And Sophia goes into panic mode. You know, Malcolm is like, let's tell everybody, I would have shouted it from the rooftop. And Sophia is like, no, 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 we can't tell anybody yet, which is totally standard. If you're pregnant, you don't tell people right away, because during the early stages of pregnancy, it's very easy to miscarry. So Sophia's like, let's just keep it cool. Let's not tell anybody. She specifically tells him, let's not tell anybody. And Malcolm agrees. They're agreed. They're not telling anybody. And what does Malcolm do? 5 minutes later, he is on the phone with Neil telling him that Sophia is pregnant. Oh, and he is so excited. He's like, hey, bro, aren't you excited for me? I'm going to be a daddy, and you're going to be babysitting soon. Poor, 3 words, poor Sophia. It's just so terrible. I mean, Malcolm is telling this to Neil, and Neil is like gritting his teeth on the other end of the phone, and Malcolm hands the phone over to Sophia, and Neil and Sophia share this awkward moment on the phone of, is this true? And she's like, yeah, it's true. It was so terrible. It was like, what? I mean, Sophia's world is rocked. Malcolm is the only one that's happy. Neil is like, I can't believe this is actually happening, because just when Neil was trying to step things up with Leslie, he's inviting her over, you know, to see his grandkids, and, you know, he's trying to let her in, and he's starting to get this feeling that he's gonna try to put his feelings for Sophia aside, and he's gonna let Malcolm and her live happily ever after. You know, even though he loves her, he's gonna put all that aside, and then a baby happens. I just feel so bad for him. I mean, Neil, Malcolm, it feels pretty different when the shoe is on the other foot. Okay, well, that is gonna do it for me for this week, you guys. My camera is running out of battery juice, so I gotta say goodbye really quickly, but I do hope that you leave me a comment. Let me know what you're thinking about this week's show. I'm totally looking forward to reading them, but either way, if you leave me a comment or not, I'm still going to be back next week, and we're still going to chat about the show. So, everybody, have an awesome week, and I will definitely see you next time. Mwah. Bye!